Did raises have to be $2?
Raises can be all in if you want to. We're gonna play no limit.
But did it have to be
it has to be at least whatever the big blind is. Yeah. So if we were to be playing right now, Dave would see a 6-4 and he'd be like, "That's a kind of a crappy hand." You typically want to have, I've got a pretty good starting hand, especially with the blinds being low. You typically want some kind of paint where you want a pair of some sort, to start out with. If you want to be creative, you might play with better cards, or with cards like a 10-9, for example, isn't bad either, to start out with. So Dave would likely, he'd probably fold. I don't know. I mean, we can kind of go through the gyrations here. If someone decides to raise, then whoever's to the left of that person has to match that or fold. So let's say that he doesn't like his hand, so he folds, and he says, you know what, I'm going to raise it up to 6, all right? So, or whatever this is.
Let's raise it to 2.
What are these again?
These are 1 and these are 2. So he raised it to 4, all right? So in order for Brian to call, he would have to put in 2 of these whites or 4 of the reds.
And I folded.
And he folded, so now the action would be to Frank. Let's say that Jack 2 is not worth playing, so he's going to fold as well. Jeff, you can decide if this is worth 4 or not.
Oh, it's definitely worth 4.
Okay?
These are 2? Those are 4.
Or 1.
Those are 3.
4, then 4.
And a half.
You've got 3-10. Terrible. You're going to fold that. All right? And Steve, I mean, you can decide what you want to do with your Jack 10 suited. That's probably not bad. I want to flip reserves.
Greens are 5?
Yes, greens are 5. So he's already got 1 in, and he's decided that he wants to raise it up to 10. All right. So that means
What's up with the blue?
That's the card calling. Just you keep it on the bottom of the deck.
Yeah. So if you raised it to 10 or you raised it to 11.
Did you take one of my whites?
I took one of your reds and put it up.
Oh, yeah, so I just raised it to 10.
Okay, so then you'll take that back, put that in, and now I've already got 2 in here, so it would take 8 for me to call. And for the sake of this, I'm going to say, yeah, let me call that as well. So now I've got 10 in the pot as well. In order for him to call, I think you did you fold? He folded. So in order for you to call, you have to put in basically 6 more chips because you already put 4 in.
Oh, so.
So now he's got 10. What happens is you go around until everyone has invested the same amount of money into the pot, all right? So he's now at 10. You called, so you want to put another 6 chips in as well. That's 7. Right. And now everyone has put in 10, so we're good, and it's time for the dealer to do the next thing, all right? So now what you do as the dealer, after, what is basically, considered the first round of betting is you always, and this thing is usually on the bottom of the deck so people can't, say, oh, I'm going to fold because 5 that I need is down there or whatever. So what you'll do is you burn 1 card, and then you flip 3 over, and this is called a flop. The way that poker works is you take the best 5 cards that you can put together at the end, and that's your hand. So right now we basically have enough for people to make decisions on what they want to do. The person that goes first is to the left of the dealer. All right, he's looking at it and saying, the highest card here is a king, and I've got a pair of kings. So he's probably saying, you know what, I'm in pretty good shape. He can do any number of things. He might slow play it, which means he checks, and then when someone bets, he might then go over and bet more. He might decide to be aggressive right off the bat because he doesn't like the 2 hearts. He might be scared that someone might hit a flush next or, something like that. So Steve is going to make some sort of decision on what he wants to do. Steve, I'll let you decide whatever you want to do. Steve checks. I'm going to look at mine and go, you know what, I didn't pair anything. If he's checking, I'm going to try and get a free look at the next card that comes out, so I'll check as well. All right, he checks because he didn't make a pair. Jeff goes all in because he's retarded. Jeff checks as well. So now, that was called the flop. Now we're going to do something called the turn, all right, where you burn another card and you show another one. And now, things get really interesting. Steve, once again, is going to make a decision, and, whatever he wants to do. All right, so Steve bets 5. Now I'm thinking to myself, all right, he just made a decision with the queen to bet 5. Did he pair his queen? Well, I did too, but I have a really high kicker. So, you know what? If he's got queens and I've got queens, my ace along with it is going to make it a better hand than his. So if two people have the same pair, it's whatever the next highest part is that you can make, determines it. His, so anyhow, so I'm going to say, you know what? That's probably a pretty low bet, considering I've got the second highest pair. He's going to fold. Jeff needs a jack in order to get a straight, so he would have 9-10 jack queen king. He might decide that it's worth waiting, or he might fold. Okay. Jeff's generally retarded, so he usually does shit like that.
Going to the inside
so
straight.
Now, once again, everyone has invested the same amount into the pot, right? Everyone put in 5, and so this all goes. Can't get these back. Whoever wins the hand is going to get all that. All right. So now you burn 1, and this is called the river. And once again, there's going to be a round of betting. All right. Steve's going to say to himself, "Oh shit, I didn't want to see that because I had the highest pair until that happened." So Steve is going to make a decision on what he wants to do here. And once again, he's going to show that he's got a decent hand. I'm going to say, you know what? I just got 2 pair. I'm going to take his 5 and I'm going to raise him 5 more. All right. So I'm going to raise him 10 more. All right. So now, in order for Jeff to play, he's got to put in 15 chips total.
And he will because he thinks there's another card coming.
Does he fold? Now he's going to say to himself, is Phil bluffing? Did he really hit the ace? Whatever. He's going to decide, do I want to call the 10? He might decide to go all in and really put me to the test to see if that ace really helped me or not. If he were to decide to go all in, I would call. Now these are face down, remember, so we can't, the only people that know what we got is he and I. Let's say he goes all in, I go all in. I have 2 pair, which beats his 1 pair, and I win the hand. And all this comes to me. All right?
All right.
So it's going to take you a few times, but that was a pretty good progression of what a typical hand looks like. And actually, it was nice because we saw, the lead, so to speak, switch a few times in between. Cool.